Welcome to Castrol Active Champions, and we've got a very interesting choice today amongst our list of champions. If you look at his numbers, he won't make all-time lists. A test match batting average of 38 that actually got to 38 in the later half of his career, a limited overs average, one-day average of 30. And yet why is Brendon McCullum in our list? Simply because at key moments in international cricket, in the history of New Zealand cricket, and indeed for India in the IPL, Brendon McCullum stood out like a beacon. You wanted to remember Brendon McCullum, and you do, for all the right things in our game. So we'll start with that one in 2008. The IPL is still very young. None of us really know what to expect from the IPL. And then everybody gathered that night to watch RCB play KKR in the first IPL game. I promise you, I was there as well. Nobody knew what to expect. And then all of a sudden, this little sort of, not so little, but medium-sized man with a bat in hand, he walks out and hit 158, and everybody's jaw dropped. And they said, wow. This is what the IPL is like.
I was 0 off 7 and I didn't know where I was going to try and find a run from. I was trying to get a leg by to get down the other end, or try and end the misery. But to be given the opportunity to be able to do something so special on such a pivotal night, it was almost like the stars aligned. And I don't know how it happened, and I never sort of have tried to understand why or how it happened, but I'm just very grateful that it did.
I think when the history of the IPL is written, they'll want a page specifically for Brendon McCullum. He protected the start of that IPL when it was at its most fragile, at its most vulnerable. Much like the Castrol Active Actibonds protect your bike engine, whether it's running or off. Brendon McCullum would have passed on into history like another good New Zealand player. But history sometimes picks people out and says, you. And I think that is what happened with McCullum in 2013. This is already well into the second half of his career as an international player. And he was given the captaincy amidst a bit of conflict between the coach. Ross Taylor was captain. New Zealand cricket is going through a conflict. They needed someone to stand up and say, yes, we are there for you. And then they go to South Africa, they go to Cape Town, they bat first, and they're 45 all out in 19 overs. Can you imagine a test match, 45 all out, 19 overs, South Africa are batting again before lunch on the first day. And he said, after that game, we all sat down and said, is this what we mean to the New Zealand public? Is this how we are going to present ourselves to the fans who work so hard, who give so much to follow us? And I think New Zealand cricket turned over that evening under Brendon McCullum. And the late second half of his career was all about Brendon McCullum, the captain, was all about playing the right way. I remember 2014, after the the unfortunate passing away of Phil Hughes, they were playing a test match against Pakistan in Sharjah, and they did not appeal. They said, we will not offer any form of celebration. It was almost a quiet test match.
Yeah, I think for too long, New Zealand tried to be something they weren't. And maybe tried to be Australia, tried to be aggressive by nature. It's not in our nature in general terms, and I think Brendon realised that, and he sort of, I think he sat down with the management and everybody and thought, well, why are we trying to be something we're not? New Zealanders aren't like that. Let's play our cricket hard on the field, let's enjoy it. And once he decided that New Zealand wanted to play like New Zealanders and behave like New Zealanders on and off the field, things changed a little bit.
There were so many other things like that Brendon McCullum did. The whole campaign in 2015 at the World Cup was a very dignified campaign that almost got the Aussies to say they're almost too nice, too good for us, that's putting us off our game plan. The New Zealanders became a side that you would enjoy watching because they played cricket in the right spirit of the game. And towards the end, Brendon McCullum became someone that world cricket looked up to for protecting the spirit of the game. Much like Castrol Active's Actibonds protect your bike engine, whether it's running or off. There were two innings towards the end of Brendon McCullum's career that told me what a fine player he had become. And they were played in two completely contrasting styles. Sometimes when your mind is absolutely clear, then you don't have to worry about how you're going to play, it just happens. The first of those came against India. Behind by 246 runs, they were reduced to 94 for 5 New Zealand. And then Brendon McCullum made a triple hundred from there. 302. He batted for 13 hours. He played more than 550 deliveries. Was that the Brendon McCullum we know? Or was that Brendon McCullum doing that because his side needed it? Almost speaking a different language from the one he normally spoke. And then he came out to bat in his last test match. New Zealand are already 3 down. Soon they are 4 down. But by then, Brendon McCullum was very clear about how he was going to bat. His century came of 54 balls. Can you imagine? You're playing your last test match, there's a bit of emotion around, maybe there's a little tear going around and you're saying, oh, how am I going to play this? And he gets 100 from 54 balls. He made 146 from 79 balls and signed off and said, right, rest of my life I'm going to play white ball cricket. And even now, he erupts sometimes, but the Brendon McCullum that you watch now is a senior statesman who's telling the world, look, cricket is our game and this is how we're going to go about playing cricket. And that's why Brendon McCullum was an easy and delightful choice for us in this series on Castrol Active Champions.